Comic Book Savant Extra, Episode 17. Welcome back to Comic Book Savant Extra. I'm your host, James Harris. This is now the new exclusive Comic Book Savant Insiders Patreon-only feed. So it's still going to be the same premise that I created when I originally started Comic Book Savant Extra. It's going to be more on a lighter, personal side, stuff that I don't cover on the main podcast that I want to, and things that I want to talk about here. We have different things like the comic book hauls that I'll do via these episodes, different things like the recommended reads that I'm doing in this episode, and different things of that nature, the different commentary episodes that I've been doing. Again, it's going to be more behind the scenes and give a little bit more insight to me on the personal side of doing the stuff, the main stuff that everybody wants to hear with the main episodes. Are going to be a little bit more personal, and you guys have responded extremely well to it, so I'm going to keep doing it till you guys tell me you don't want me to do it anymore, but we're just going to have fun with it like we have been previously. So this episode is going to be the recommended reads, episode 2. So the first one went over well enough that I'm going to keep doing these. Probably like once a month, I'll take a 1 week and I'll go back through my extensive reading history and pick out some books that I want to bring to your attention, and hopefully by bringing them to your attention, maybe if you've never heard of them, or if you have heard of them but you never had a chance to read them, maybe my sales pitch and talking about the books might interest you. Anything that I am talking about, I will have linked on the website. In the bookshelf section, they're Amazon affiliate links. So if you decide anything, you want to pick up anything that I'm talking about, you can click the link there. And if you decide to purchase it, I do get a small percentage. So it goes back to further help the show. So it's a win-win for me and you, because you get good comics as well. And I get a little bit of the kickback of it, and it helps support the show even further. So it's always a cool thing when you can get comics at good prices and you can help a cause that you care about at the same time. With all that being said, let's jump into it. It's like 3 main series. I'm talking more about series this go around, and I've been on, I don't know what it has been. I don't know, is it because I just recently had a birthday, and I'm going back, looking back, over the time that I've done the show, and and just the different books that I've read. But I've just been on a super throwback kick. So this episode is just me was thinking about good books that I could recommend that are kind of short run series that you can get the whole series in, and very quickly and very accessible, and read a condensed story that's 50 issues or less kind of deal. First series I'm going to talk about is a series that I miss a lot because I really dug the character, was Manhunter. This was a book published by DC Comics from 2004 to 2009. It was written by Mark Andreyko. The artist that worked on the series was Jesus Saez, Javier Pena, and Michael Gaidos as well did some art for the series. It ran from issues 1 through 38. Manhunter is an original character that was done by was it Howard Chaykin or Walt Simonson, one or the other. Back in the 80s or 70s, Manhunter was a thing. This is the new Manhunter attached to the lineage. Her Kate Spencer. She was a lawyer by day, and then she got into being a vigilante at night. It was a really good series with a great female antagonist that kind of blurred the lines. It kind of had a Daredevil / She-Hulk kind of feel, because she's has to deal with the tropes of being a lawyer, but then when the law doesn't go enough, she takes it in her own hands. So if you like things like Daredevil or like the law aspect of like She-Hulk, when he did that run with her recently, that was really popular. it's kind of that. It was kind of ahead of its time. It's a book that I dug because it really struggled. They threatened to cancel the book multiple times, and the people that were into the book, like myself, very early on in the podcast, I was a strong advocate of the book. I missed the series. You know, with digital being so prominent now, we're going back and starting to get these series that were low-run series. A lot of the you're starting to get these things reprinted digitally. They don't have all the trades digitally. I think maybe they have like the first one, but I did find links on Amazon for the actual trades, and I found I think digitally I found all five, not digitally, but physical copies of all five trades. The series is covered through 5 trades to cover the 38 issue run. First volume is Street Justice. Second one is Volume 2, Trial by Fire. Third volume is Origins. Fourth, Manhunter Volume 4 is Unleashed. And Volume 5 is Forgotten. So I'll have links to all that, like I said, on the site, so you can try to pick those up. They have the individual issues for the most part. I think digitally through like Comixology and like DC.com. If I'm not mistaken, let me double check. I forgot to double check to see what was available digital. I think the whole series, but it's just individual issues. And I'm hoping, because they've been doing it with older stuff like Nightwing, that those trades were hard to find, that they've been doing a great job. You know, Manhunter wasn't nearly as popular as Nightwing, but they're going to that older stuff, 90s stuff, the stuff that once the art has really got turned over digitally, that they're making more accessible now. With the trades and things of that nature. So, which is cool because, you know, this is, like I said, wasn't a huge fanfare of a series, but it's good now that at least, yeah, you can actually get the whole series individually. It just, for whatever reason, they don't have the trades digitally. I'm checking now as I speak because I just want to make sure I was right in what I was saying as far as the availability of everything through Comixology. Yeah, it's just the single issues. I don't see any of the trades for Manhunter yet. I'm hoping, since they have the whole series now, that will eventually, and they've been doing, DC and Marvel with their older stuff like this have been doing a real good job, and we've been putting out a lot of these trades recently, so hopefully they'll have the trades digitally. But like I said, I dug up on I did a search on Amazon, but I do have links to all of it, so it's something I could suggest that you could actually find via Amazon, and maybe even through in-stock trades. I don't know. Did I? I originally got all my Manhunter trades through InStockTrades.com, so I'm just double checking since they're a sponsor of the main podcast to see. Some people prefer one over the other, but I don't see, when I put in Manhunter, I don't see those trades coming up anymore. So yeah, your best bet looks like it would be going through Comixology for the individual issues, or going through somewhere like Amazon to get the physical trade paperbacks. The next series I want to talk about was a series that I forgot about, and I was thinking about series like something that, now Manhunter has a darker tone, darker, grittier, like I said, street tone to it. Now, I thought about something lighter that was something fun that I enjoyed, and I was thinking about Dynamo 5. It was a book that really kind of caught the industry by storm. It was kind of when Image was kind of going through a slump, and it kind of was like one of those first books that was really started that upswing to what Image is now. Right when Kirkman, it was right before Kirkman did his whole manifesto about leaving the big publishers alone and just really focusing on his creator-owned stuff and getting Skybound and that whole jump off. They did Dynamo 5, and it kind of caught a lot of attention during a brief period. Dynamo 5 only ran from 2007 to 2009, but it was like The Incredibles, since it was like that big gap between The Incredibles movie and Incredibles 2, which we just got this summer. It was like a family, about a family of was about basically a Superman archetype character that went out and he had all these affairs on his wife and had all these kids, and he dies, and then they need someone to replace him in the world, and the wife finds out that he had these 5 kids, and they all have different variations of his power set dispersed through them all, and she brings them together and puts them together as Dynamo 5 as a team to kind of protect the city and the world in place of their lost father. And you have that whole family dynamic of, they're all these half brothers and sisters having to now not just finding out about one another for the first time, then meeting his real actual wife, and that she got issues because he cheated on her and had all these kids, and then they all have to work together. It was a super interesting dynamic. It was a fun book. It went from issue 0 to issue 25. It was written by Jay Faber, I think is how it's pronounced. This was drawn by Mahmoud A. Assar. He's done a lot of work over at Marvel now, but this was the first book that he did. I think I remember Jay in the interview when this was real big. He was interviewing with a lot of different podcasts and stuff. They said they basically found each other online. He loved his artwork. He reached out to him and they connected, and they did this book, and it was like a really big book for them both. Again, it had a relatively short run. I found this whole series except for issue 0, and I remember I had issue 0, and I can't remember, was issue 0 like a Wizard magazine exclusive or not? It was something like that, but I remember I had the actual 0 issue through Comixology Unlimited. They actually have issues 1 through 25, so they have the rest of the series on Comixology Unlimited. So if you are a member of that, you can read this whole series just a part of your membership, which is kind of cool. So I was looking for different stuff like that to suggest that you can easily get your hands on. If you're not signed up for Comixology Unlimited, why not? Hashtag not sponsored, but I should be, but I don't have any control over that. That you can get Dynamo 5 is 5 volumes as well for this series. Volume 1 is Post-Nuclear Family. Volume 2 is Moments of Truth. Volume 3 is Fresh Blood. Volume 4 is Change or Die, and that was the main series that I read. Then it was another volume that was a mini series that was called Sins of a Father. I haven't had a chance to read that. I do want to check it out because I read the original series, but I never read that mini series, and that's also collected in its own volume as well. Again, I have links to all of those on Amazon for physical copies of those, and of course digitally you can get them all on Comixology except for that 0 issue. I don't know why it's not available, but that would be the only thing you would be missing as far as out of all the content that I know in relation to the series. And last but not least, what I'm going to talk about on this episode, because this is not going to be a super long episode, it's going to be Marvel Team Up. I've talked about this comic, and I don't know how many people tried it, or was this a me thing. This was back on Marvel Team Up. They brought Marvel Team Up back. Marvel Team Up was basically a concept where it was, most of the time it was like Spider-Man, if I remember correctly. It was an ongoing book that they would do periodically that would have Spider-Man in a book teamed up with another hero from the Marvel Universe. And they would have this exploit for, it was like a 1-issue thing, and it was like period. It was never consistent when they did it. They would run it for a little while, pull it, get some ideas, run it again. But they had this run from 2004 to 2006. This was when Robert Kirkman was freelancing over at Marvel and did some really good work. And I think this was right before he did his Irredeemable Ant-Man run, which was really like the last thing, some of the last work he did over at Marvel, but it was really phenomenal. This series is also 25 issues long. They just put out all these digitally, so you can get, it's harder to find these now, physical copies of these trades. They haven't had a mass reprinting. I don't know why not, but it's kind of like that weird thing, because Kirkman kind of, dissed big industry and went off on his own thing with Skybound, and it's a thing. So Marvel has been kind of they've been reprinting a lot of their old stuff and putting out, repackaging it, putting it out physically and digitally. This literally just came out. Like, they just really got these trades, and I've talked about this series numerous times and couldn't find it digitally, and it was frustrating. They were trickling out the individual issues, but then when was this? Probably because this was a couple of weeks ago, so maybe like a month or so ago, they had a big sale, and this was included, and I was able to find the whole series via trade for the first time digitally because I wanted to go back and reread it. I had I don't know if I had all the individual. I think I did. I had all the individual issues, and I had all the trades. And then when I got rid of my whole collection, I had lost it, and was worried for the longest time that this might be something that wasn't reprinted. So, especially when they were trickling out the issues, you were getting one here and there. I was good that it was finally just now. I bought all 4 trades while it was on sale. I think I got the whole series for less than $20 on a Comixology sale. Where you can find them, like I said, it's limited because I think through Amazon I found the first and second. Oh, let me go. Oh, it's 4 volumes. Excuse me. I got ahead of myself. It's 4 volumes of the series to cover the 25 issues. First volume is Golden Child. Second volume is Master of the Ring. Third one was League of Losers, and the 4th volume is called Freedom Ring. The thing that's most important about the 3rd volume, League of Losers, they actually even allowed Robert Kirkman to do a crossover issue with Spider-Man with Invincible, and that's probably like his epic, and it was a really cool issue, and it was a part of that story arc in the League of Losers trade. So if you definitely want to pick that one up to see that crossover, which was really cool, you can check it out in that 3rd volume, League of Losers. This was written by Robert Kirkman. The artist that worked on the series was Andy Kuhn, Paco Medina, Corey Walker, Jeff Johnson, and Scott Collins as well. It was just really fun, and it's what you imagine the Marvel Universe to be. It's so many heroes concentrated in New York alone, and it was literally like it's cameos by like everyone, Iron Man, Punisher, that they bump in and they would come on top of one another because they're all in like this one city and it's hundreds of heroes. And so Kirkman takes it and makes fun of that and plays with that trope heavily on how you have so many people kind of teaming up and crossing over. Because Spider-Man might fight someone and he goes into Hell's Kitchen, comes across Daredevil, he goes here in areas that we know that are related to particular heroes, and they will run and crash into those heroes, and how things would overlap, though it seems to never really happen in their comics unless it's air quotes a big event, how it just would naturally happen in the real world, and that is what makes it funny on itself. So it's light, satirical, kind of, if you like know that about Kirkman's writing with certain stuff, he can be very snarky, and so I like his brand of humor, and he really plays it up considerably in this series. So it's just really fun storytelling and something different from the main heavier stuff you're getting in the main books now. These are all like throwback stories and series that are just like, when I think of Marvel Team Up and I think of Dynamo 5, I think of lighter, a breath of fresh air, change of pace books series that you could check out. Manhunter is something totally different, but it's so good, and it's a great female lead character that gets great development. And like I said, if you like things like the more recent Daredevil stories, classic Daredevil stories, it has that whole vibe to it. Mark Andreyko is a really good writer. I think he's taking over Supergirl now, currently over at DC, and he's a really good writer. And this is some of his best work here. But that's all I had for recommended reads for this episode. Like I said, I was changing up. When I do these in the future, I might have particular themes and different things. I've been on a huge nostalgia kick the past couple of months. And I've been rereading a lot of old stories in the midst of checking out newer stuff. And just reminiscing and seeing how it's cool, I think, sometime to go back and look at some older stories. It's like I just recently turned 43, and I'm thinking about I literally just picked up yesterday or 2 days ago on Comixology. They got a sale going on, and I grabbed. They have The Mutant Massacre. And I just picked that up because I read it originally as a kid in the 80s, and I've never revisited that story. And so I saw the collection, and I think it's normally like a $30 book. It's like, I got it for like $8.50 or $8.60 or something. So I want to go back and read it. So I might be doing a review on this feed or on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, but I will be reviewing that sometime coming up forward, because I've just been on a huge nostalgia kick, and I want to see how a 30 plus year old story holds up for how it impacted me as a child to me being a 43-year-old man. Like, does those stories still hold up that I hold dear? It's kind of cool to be able to do those things. And plus, I never reviewed that on any form of the show. I've mentioned it here and there, how impactful it was to me, but I've never really reviewed it. So it gives me an excuse to purchase it and go back and revisit it. So I've just been on that huge kick, and this kind of follows that whole theme. As always, you can check me out on YouTube. It is comicbooksavant.com/YouTube. God, we're gonna do that all over again. You can find me at youtube.com/comicbooksavant. Also on the website as well, which is www.comicbooksavant.com. Also have merch now, so I have links on the website. If you go to the support page and you go down to the bottom of the page, I have 2 t-shirt designs. It'll be more stuff coming, more merchandise coming. It's in the future, it's through Teespring, so I could do all types of different merchandise with the logos and stuff on it. So I'm going to be working on some new designs myself, and do a coffee mug, and I'll do other little merchandise and add stuff to the store over time. But right now I'm just doing the 2 t-shirts and see how that goes. They're pretty cool looking. I'm about to order some t-shirts myself through Teespring, so I can check them out. So you'll see me in upcoming videos and so forth. With I probably will get one of each design, and I will be flaunting them on the on future videos on the YouTube channel. But again, that's everything I have for you guys at this time. I'll see you guys again soon, or next week. It will be on Comic Book Savant Extra. I appreciate all your guys' support for being a Patreon backer and helping me make this happen. And I'll see you guys soon. Take care.